told you over recent weeks about how you can get involved in a very cool cause supporting the Soul of KC Raffle and what that does for Operation Breakthrough, something KCSN's been doing for a number of years now. I think it's important to be able to find those places where you can connect with the community, do some good that way. Not actually what I was thinking about. Travis Kelce, the Chiefs' Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee this year. I bet he'll do okay in the charity challenge that involves fan voting. Pop stars not disallowed from tampering in that election. So I think it's important to find those places where you can connect and become a part of something bigger, which is why I am also excited to announce here today on Only Weird Games that if you have a decent pass set, you get yourself to Arrowhead Stadium right now. I will give you Andy Reid's personal phone number in the final moments of this show. But if you think you have a chance of being able to play tackle on Sunday night, we need you.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
DJ Humphries? Maybe. Juwan Taylor? Maybe. Joe Tooney? Somewhere, but he's one of 5. Even Cyborgs only take up 1 spot on the roster. So what's going to be happening on Sunday Night Football in a hats and t-shirts game for the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm actually not sure. I'm hoping that Nate Taylor has some answers for us here. I'm Joshua Brisco, Seth Keysor in the middle box. Fellas, we got a divisional game. We have a divisional game with a little bit of juice to it, a Chargers team that's come back to life, and a whole bunch of guards that are ready to go.
So before you ask me the question, Josh, and I know you're about to ask me, let me just take you step by step through the mind of one Patrick Mahomes.
Is the question who you like better? Because I'm curious about that too.
Talented, and I love the podcast Only Weird Games.
So I thought you said he was going to be out for like a couple games. It might be the whole season. I literally convinced him to come here to be my receiver. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can make it work. I'm sorry, did you say Pacheco broke his fibula? Okay. All right. Yeah. It's football. You know what? It's football. You telling me I did what to Rashee Rice?
Man, I hate Rashee Rice. I wish he wasn't on this team.
You tell me.
How could I possibly do something where no one will suspect me? I'll throw an unbelievably bad pick, like horrible, and then I'll get so mad that I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lay a hit on this dude right here on the sideline. Oh no, he moved. Is that Rashee's knee? Oh, he was mad enough to swear at a presser.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was upset enough about that to swear in a presser afterward. You know, the voice in his head for the rest of the day was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, remember that's the first 3 weeks of the season. So you're telling me? I mean, I saw him go down, but you're telling me Jody Forson's done. You're telling me Jared Wiley's done. You're telling me
Peyton Hendershot?
You're telling me Peyton Hendershot's done. Okay. Yeah. Wanya's got a knee. Okay. All right.
Does he have a second
I got this ankle. I got this ankle thing, right? You guys know I have this ankle thing. Okay. All right. Okay. We can never play Kingsley again. Got it. Yep. Got it. Okay. All right.
This season.
You know what? We'll make it work. Yeah, this season. Right. We'll just make it work. And I got Wanye.
Kingsley for the quad Pete.
I got Juwan. We got enough guys. We just ride those 5 guys. Yeah, man, I can't. He can't anymore. He can't move. Can't move anymore. He can't move anymore. You know what? That's why we signed DJ. That's why we signed DJ. Okay, did we win? We won. All right, cool. Did you literally just tell me that Juwan can't practice today? Did you literally just tell me that? He's got a what? He's got a knee? Okay. It's okay. Okay. It's no, it's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay. No, it's okay.
Do you think that Mahomes has like a live-in rage room that's just one of like a wing of his house? He just goes in and just throws things and punches walls with gloves that protect, non-throwing hand only. Like, do you think Mahomes might show up like in Fight Club, or just shows up at the facility with a black eye and a busted non-throwing hand? It's like, what? You have a piece of glass stuck in your neck, Patrick. What happened? Oh yeah, no, it's that table was supposed to do that. If you don't know, Juwan Taylor was on yesterday's injury report with the knee as a full participant for a Wednesday. And then today, Thursday, he was the only non-participant, or excuse me, the only limited. He took at least one snap. He was limited in practice today. Noah Gray and Charles Omenihu, the only two on the injury report in any other form, which I will say means DJ Humphries and his knee is not on that injury report. Isaiah Pacheco and his ankle, not on that injury report. But what do you know, Nate? Because I saw Taylor full participant yesterday. That happens. A lot of guys are on the
Right.
as a full participant. I don't like that he didn't get through all of practice today. If that was designed or because something happened during practice, what do you know? And then what should our level of freak out be? Because man, how unbelievably cruel would it be if Sunday Night Football, your starting tackles are DJ Humphries and Wanye Morris?
Irony. Wait, I can't remember what irony is, but I think that might be it.
It sounds pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So here's what I know. This was mostly designed. I know Matt Derricks put it out on Twitter. They practiced at the indoor facility today because it's freezing in Kansas City, and it's not going to be freezing on Sunday night. So this was partly designed. Another issue is because it's an indoor facility, they only have one field to work on. They don't have two or three like you do outside. Obviously, that's the case for most NFL teams. So part of this is to ramp up. On one end, you're ramping up literally DJ Humphries. On one end, you're trying to stabilize / support Juwan Taylor so that he can be as healthy, as fresh, as spry as possible on Sunday Night Football against Joey Bosa, which of course means the Chiefs don't believe that his injury is as significant as Wanye Morris's injury. As I've told you for a month now, he ain't been right, and we have physical evidence that proves such. So tomorrow will be interesting. It's going to be, I wouldn't say a more thorough practice. As I've said before on here, Wednesday's practice, pretty significant. Thursday's the entire game plan. Friday is mostly situational stuff. Last second things. Hey, if we want to run a trick play or something funky, we might do it on Friday. And then obviously we can go over things one more time in the Saturday walkthrough ahead of a Sunday game. So if he's a full participant tomorrow, then yes, it kind of goes back to the idea that this was designed. We're going to be in an indoor facility. I don't know about you, Seth, but it sounds like Ethan Driscoll needs some reps. So we can get Ethan Driscoll some reps in the indoor practice, coach. Juwan knows everything. He knows the playbook. He's fine. If we needed Wanye at some point in time later in the season to go over to right tackle in the event of something, hey, coach, he needs some reps.
I didn't know about the Juwan Taylor thing until we started recording.
Did you feel better hearing Nate and Matt say that it was like pretty much procedural? You should be fine.
There was a lot of whiplash for me there. I haven't been very on.
Raiders pass
haven't been. I know you're fine. I haven't been very online today, because I'm a serious guy with a serious job.
That's right.
Never ever once looks away from his computer screen throughout the entirety of his day, because otherwise, how would I function as an attorney? So I just got to say, with Taylor, here's the thing about like letting Morris have reps at right tackle. Like, if he's got a knee thing that doesn't require surgery to fix, my assumption is if
like
they let Wanye Morris
sprain ankle, Seth, it's like a sprain ankle.
Then you know what helps things like that? Rest. Like, let the man rest. Like, we might need him in the playoffs, so let him get some rest. And like, I just don't understand. Like with Jawan Taylor, I guess it makes sense. The inside-outside thing, it's becoming somewhat comical at this point. It's like a game, right? How can you have injuries? Like, what guys could you injure that aren't stars, other than arguably Rashee Rice? Because that dude would have had already like 110 targets by now. Like, that guy was going to put up so many numbers.
Yep.
This year.
And prime Darrell Revis, aka Jalen Watson.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So like Jalen Watson's a good example where it's like, he's not a star, but we're like, it really, it's like a contest. If you could pick a guy who's not a star, but is wildly important to the success of the team, who would it be? Well, probably Justin Wood. Boop. Like, hey, what? You just booped him. Well, I mean, honestly, he's not really a star, but given where everything else is at, you just really can't avoid a glaring weakness at left tackle. Boop. Hey, stop booping these guys. Like, I that's where, like, so like with DJ Humphries maybe on track to play. I know Nate's going to tell us more about that in a bit.
He's going to play.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Man, so Nate,
he's going to play.
Nate, hold on.
He's going to play, kids.
I have a bone to pick with you. Nate, that's great news.
What?
But I have a bone to pick with you.
What'd I do?
The journeys you have taken us on to tell stories that are so much less significant than that.
Yes.
It's like reading the first couple chapters of The Man in the Iron Mask, which, if you haven't read, my God, get to the point, Dumas. Like, what are you doing? You have taken us on journeys that ranged as far and wide as the Silmarillion and across the passage of time as, well, the Silmarillion. And for this, you're just like, you just dropped it.
Nate had been getting too confusing for the aggregator, so he finally decided to just give him an easy one.
So, look, I felt like you needed one, Seth. I felt like the audience needs one. I'm going to give you one. He's playing on Sunday, okay? All systems go. We are ready for launch. Please don't hurt your knee, okay? How does a brace feel? By the way, how does a brace feel? Brace feel okay? You need a little more tighten, less tighten? You tell us, but it's all systems go Sunday night, kids. So no, I understand your point. I believe I am a mildly above average storyteller. So, sometimes I like to take you on a journey. I like to give you some twists, some turns. You needed this one, Seth. Everybody needs this one. DJ Humphries will play left tackle Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers, barring something unforeseen at the taping of this episode, which was Thursday evening. So
look, we don't need any more people booped. Like,
right.
Let's just.
I'm not in charge of. I have no idea who's getting booped next. Okay, it might be Matthew Wright. Matthew, stay off whatever machine Spencer Schrader was on.
What? So I do need to apologize to people that are invested in my brand, because the comment I got when I said, as far ranging as the Silmarillion and then spanning as many years as well, the Silmarillion, where is it? I don't even see it anymore because our commenters are just awesome. Someone commented, and this is just terrific. Genesis 5 was right there, Seth. And it was. I'm disappointed in myself. It's unbelievable. Someone commented Seth needs a gummy. My vibes are not good. And I apologize for that.
I know Rich had the other thing.
Yep, Rich fan. The gummy one is a name that got me once. I'll never get that. I'll never get God again. I'm gonna get God again, guys. Look, it's gonna happen. It's been a fascinating thing watching the Chiefs season and seeing them tinker with, because like Charles Omenihu counts for that. Like in terms of injury, if you were to pick guys on the defense who aren't necessarily like your superstar core 5 guys, but are also super indispensable and have a widely valuable skill set, Charles Omenihu would have been one of the first ones on my list. Jawan Taylor would have been one of the first guys on my list. Justin Watson would have been one of the first guys on my list. Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown. It's like if I had made a list of guys who aren't superstars that the Chiefs really can't afford to lose, I would have named all of those 5 guys in the top 7.
And you forgot Sky Moore.
Core injury.
Core player.
Look, so this is from one's Holy Bible of the New International Version. This is Genesis 5,
A Bible, I guess.
verse 3. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and his name was Seth.
Boom!
After Seth was born,
That explains a
Adam
lot.
lived 800 years and had another son, had other
That's so
sons
many
and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died.
930 years is a long time. I've actually thought about this. Thank you, Dr. Ozzy. If it ain't King James, get it out of my face. I didn't even hear one
Okay,
thou.
Sorry. Excuse me, Dr. Isaac. Let me get that for you in the back.
Let me grab that second act of Grace in 1611 Bible here. Anyway, I'm going to drag us too far afield because that joke is just going to get funnier and funnier to me. But DJ Humphries is playing. That's awesome. He's actually had a little more time to recover from his ACL tear than Charles Omenihu, which is great news because based on how Charles Omenihu played, that means everyone should be ready to go because Charles Omenihu is a guy who defies expectations, comes back and plays. Nate is now going to start showing off his Christian book library. Is that Timothy Keller? There it is. Who do we have next? You got a little Francis Chan in there, maybe a little David Platt. Who else could we read right now?
Lance asking in the chat here said, so the offseason brings the Only Weird Theology podcast. Lance, you have no idea what you're asking for.
Yeah, you don't want this. You think you want it, but you don't.
I mean Seth doesn't want. I don't think Seth wants this.
None of us. Yeah, Spurgeon or Get Out. All right. Who are we really reading right now? You know what? Let's get back in time.
I really enjoyed. This was a textbook, one of my college classes, religion and a sociological perspective, and it led me down a really interesting path regarding the convalescence between Christianity and sort of American patriotism. It's really a fascinating discussion that I think we could all break down.
Man, I wish I had the ability to throw us to a break. And I should have.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Religion and prejudice, racism and sexism. Interesting. I bet that it's weird. There's actually no pages there. It's not a thing.
No, exactly. Nate's holding up a book that says date your wife. I'm sure it's wonderful. The finger is really pointing at you there to do it. I want you to date your wife. So DJ Humphries is playing. That's big news.
The break means we're changing topips. You threw to it.
But I actually want to talk about that.
Well, you should have done it before you threw to break.
Hey, you know what?
You spent 19 minutes on the tackle spots.
Well, did we?
We've been doing the show for 19 minutes.
Okay, that's more accurate. Will you let me wax eloquent on that for 1 minute? I won't go anywhere else. Thanks, Josh. So, nobody in the world, dear listeners, is funnier than a semi-ticked off Josh Brisco. Nobody is funnier than that guy. More Tim Keller. Nate, you got to stop holding up books. So, here's what I would say in terms of Humphries. It'll be a good opportunity to just see where he's at. I don't expect an A-plus game from him. It's his first game back. He's new in a system. If he can even just be average to slightly below average in pass pro situations, I will be thrilled because he's being tossed into a tough situation against tough players. Khalil Mack, who's going to be rushing primarily to his side, wins more power-based stuff. Humphries is better against speed-based stuff. So I'm excited to see it. and it's gonna be Nate. Nate's unwillingness to let go of a bit is inspiring.
No one listening knew that was still going on. That was a you problem there, actually.
Nate is still holding up book after book. So that's all I just
Rooney asked what my favorite first level wizard spell is.
they're trying to get you back involved in the conversation there. Yeah, Jesus is great, but what would Charizard do or whatever those things
That's
are
the
called?
Pokemon, Seth.
Tomato. I'm done with DJ Humphries.
I'd argue we've been done with DJ Humphries for a little bit. Big Thunderwave guy, Christopher, personally. So I have three books that I'll add here. As Nate has been showing off several. I've got two from college, one after that. Here I can tell you all about what video games have to teach us about learning and literacy. A book about video games and education. Then we have Exploring Typography, which is about, you might say it's about fonts, and that'd be a pretty small-minded way to think about it. But I can tell you more about that later on. And then I have the 400 Best Sandwich Recipes, which is a book written by Alec Lewis's mom.
Get out.
I bought this on eBay while talking to Alec Lewis on the radio once many years ago.
I didn't know
he used to cover the Royals. Now he covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic. He does a fabulous job, but his mom has written the best thing out of the Lewis family, and it's this book with 400 delicious sandwich recipes.
Shout out to Tucker in the private chat with the CS Lewis throw in. You're right.
Throw in. What a look down your nose at CS Lewis, Seth.
What?
A little throw in. Nate, how much are we going to see Isaiah Pacheco, do you think?
A decent amount, Maybe they'll hand him the ball more than 7 times in the game. I want to say this about DJ Humphries real quick. There's a scene I gotta set here. I gotta set a scene. I gotta scene this set. Come on now. Now look, there's a moment. One of my favorite moments in Mad Men is when Pete gets fired by Don Draper, and Pete doesn't realize that only so much of your family can get you to where you are, and your education, and your status, and your complexion, all those things, right? And then Don fires him just out of nowhere. And then it is told to Don that, hey, man, if you want to hire anybody from his school ever again, we might not want to fire him. So how do we alleviate this issue? Well, Roger Sterling and Donald Draper go to Pete's office and unfire him. You were fired. You were gone. This man saved you, said Roger. And he points right to Don Draper. And Don Draper, in his puzzled look, goes, "It's right. You live and you die in his shadow. That is your commanding officer." And from that moment on, if you watch the show, Pete is as loyal to Don Draper as anybody in that show. And the show goes on for another 7 seasons, something like that. You're not going to play another snap, Wanye. You're not going to play another snap. This is before, by the way, this is before all the Devon Taylor stuff. Wanye, you're not going to play another snap, okay? This man will get you 5 more paychecks this season. You rise and you fall in his shadow. His name is DJ Humphries, okay? Wherever he is, you need to be. Hell, let me elaborate for it. Yo ass need to be there, okay?
Yeah. Kingsley, follow that guy.
We ain't even talking to Kingsley. Kingsley's in another universe.
Kingsley and Ethan Driscoll are at a different table right now.
Yeah. They didn't get this invite. Okay, so look, kids.
Fair enough.
During the indoor portion of practice today that was open to reporters, the Chiefs went through just their traditional field goal block period, right? So Leo Chenal doing Leo Chenal things. But hey, there's 6 offensive linemen in red jerseys communicating with one another, and I see DJ Humphries having an intimate conversation with Creed Humphrey. And you know who's in his shadow? Wanye Morris.
I was going to guess C.S. Lewis, but.
And wherever DJ Humphries went, so did Wanye Morris. So about Pacheco, what you're going to see on Sunday is 15 carries, hoping to break a couple of big gains, similar to the 34-yard run he had against the Raiders. And I do get the sense that they will use him more probably in the passing game against the Chargers, which is necessary, I would add. And also, you know, Kareem Hunt can now be the short yardage, change of pace back. You're going to see the actual idea in front of your eyes against the Chargers. Carson Steele, please be good at special teams. If you need a secondary pass catcher, you have Carson Steele. If something were to somehow happen to Samaje Perine, you have Carson Steele. So I just want people to understand that Carson Steele has made it this far. And that is a credit to him for being an undrafted rookie fullback that's somehow going to make the Pro Bowl.
Future Pro Bowler Carson Steele.
And I thought for a minute, are they going to try to sneak Carson Steele onto the practice squad? No, we can't. He's on the Pro Bowl roster. So they're still going to mix Carson Steele in. But now you're going to see in its actual formation, okay, Isaiah Pacheco, 60, Kareem Hunt, 30, Samaje Perine, 10, and obviously third down backish. And who knows? If you need somebody, Carson Steele is still in a uniform.
I like the idea of utilizing Hunt somewhat sparingly and maybe letting him get his legs back underneath him, because they full-fledged Larry Johnsoned him for a while. Like, I mean, it was just like game after game. I was like, man, they can't keep doing this to him, right? No, there he is again. Okay. And Perine has shown himself to be very useful as a pass blocker, very useful as a receiver. Like, there's been like one play where Perine had a drop, right? Early in the season. And since then, like pretty much every time you see Perine get the ball, aren't you like, oh, well, that was pretty good.
Cool.
Like, and that is not necessarily a way to do analysis, but it's like with limited sample size guys like Perine, there's worse ways to analyze it. Like, what noise do you make when after the play is finished, if you're like, oh, you know, that's a good noise. And with Perine, I would like to see him get a ton of those third and
long. Onto an incredible way of doing sports analysis. I think that there is a rich vein here that we have that this show really has already been a trailblazer for, but I think that there's even more room for. What sound did you make when Patrick Mahomes threw this football?
Yeah. Well, no, because if it's to Justin Watson, you're like, whoa.
If
it's to Xavier Worthy, if it's to Xavier Worthy, you went, huh? Like, you know, or sometimes, yeah. And so those are, I'm just saying, it's one good way of gauging it. They could not run the ball against the Raiders. I know people want them to do it more. They weren't good at it when they did it. They had like a 12% success rate. They had one big run, and the rest, I was watching. I was like, oh, man, they're going to stop running the ball because it's not working. And so they switched to the short pass game and, you know, moved the ball okay until they shot themselves in the foot, which is always super fun to watch. I would love to see Pacheco utilized more in the run game. I would love to see Hunt actually. I think you can get away with using primarily Pacheco and Perine. I don't think you need to keep destroying Kareem Hunt's body because you're going to need him in the playoffs. That's my idea. But, of course, my idea was to give Wanya Moore some rest, too. So, apparently, we just don't need to do that during the season. It is funny to me, just on a final note, Nate, that, like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, we're going to see the thing that they've intended it to be. And I'm like, it's December 5th. Like, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're not bringing out the good plays until they're down 14 in the AFC Championship game. Then you'll get the good plays.
Yeah, and then it is time. But it is funny how the Chiefs, and a lot of this is because of the injuries we've discussed, they are trying to discover. I mean, I wrote about Josh Williams. We talked about that a lot on Tuesday. You can find that on the Chiefs North newsletter now, by the way.
Yeah, but you got to pay full $12 a year price for it now, you lazy.
This ain't no Cyber Monday, ho.
You cheapers. That
We have
is
strong
straight out of
feelings about
Genesis
Susan
5.
and how lazy she is, and also her proclivities.
So
I
it really
support Susan. All Susan, probably not all Susans. There's probably a Susan I don't support.
Yeah, most Susans I've met are great. So, all right. The Chiefs are right now still trying to figure out exactly how they want to use their running backs. They are also currently, right now, still figuring out how they want to use their receiver room. They are also still, right now, somewhat revamping tight end usage as Noah Gray becomes more and more prominent. As he becomes greater, Travis Kelce's becoming lesser. And as one ascends, the other must descend a little in
There's
terms of
plenty of room
role
on
in the
this beach
offense.
for two beautiful white horses. I don't feel like that's necessary.
Yeah.
I feel
And
the problem,
so-
Seth, is that actually there is a trail of horses that have been unfortunately destroyed along the beach this season. You go, oh God, oh they didn't even move. They didn't even move Jody Hortson's body. Uh-oh, who's that? Is that Peyton Haydershot?
Is that Peyton shot?
Haydershot?
And so
Jared Winnie, no.
that really is it. The Chiefs have just left a trail of bodies in their
Dr. Ozzie,
wake.
The 2024 Chiefs are a glue factory.
They are. And that's the crazy thing about getting to where they're at. They're like the first half hour of Saving Private Ryan, where it's like, we're going to get to that beach and dudes are getting mowed down left and right. And you're like, hopefully some reinforcements come at some point. Oh, man. I don't know who I was talking to. That guy's dead. And
Tucker said it's a bunch of Johnny Cueto's horses, and I just need to say R.I.P. Popeye forever.
Oh my God.
And so it's created this situation to where we are in December and they still haven't figured out who they are in a lot of places on offense and defense because of injuries. Here's the good news. On offense last year, they still had no idea they knew who they were this time last year and they kind of stunk. That's progress. Now the defense was elite. Can't ignore that. The defense was elite all year last year. I don't think they're going to hit that level. But with Amenahu and maybe Josh Williams, who I assume... Nate, do we know is Josh Williams going to get the nod again? Or not the nod again, because he didn't get the starting nod.
Right.
Are they going to wait to pull Najee Johnson, or are they just going to go ahead and skip the middleman?
It's over. It's over, guys. By the way, this tells you
that it's lied about it during his presser, Seth. But what Nate is telling you,
it was incredible. I mean, Spags is such a lovely gentleman who just said, you can almost see like, I physically don't want to do this, but I don't know, guys. No. We're gonna need both guys. We're gonna need both.
And later he was like, and I was telling Nas that you still got to prepare just like you would any other week. And like, why is that, Steve? What's different this week, Steve?
Spags is a national treasure. That's amazing. He gave the prepared answer from Andy Reid, and he was like, I didn't know you were gonna have follow-up questions. Dang it.
I told Nazi from the sideline and more special teams this week, he'll be able to show a lot.
Oh, what? Yeah. So it's over, kids. The experiment is over. This tells you that the calendar truly has
Joshua Williams stays healthy.
Correct. Correct. Or Keith. You know what? I still haven't seen Keith Taylor's face. Still haven't. Don't know where he is, but he's somewhere. So look, the experiment's over. We are not in Black Friday mode. The calendar really has flipped from November to December. And one of the ways you can tell that, kids, is we got two things, guys. We got two legitimate things that tell you it's December football. That's called Hard Knocks. And that's called Joshua Williams, who was in the doghouse in September, October, November,
Nate
is gonna start against the Los Angeles.
He built like a dog resort. He was like, they were 3/4 of the way to Grandma and Grandpa's farm upstate.
Yes,
it got to the point where like, I just can't trust him to not make a mess in the house. We might just need to leave him outside.
Yeah, he was that close.
After months of being in the doghouse, he is your starting quarterback too, Joshua Williams, like we all predicted. back in July.
That's
So-
actually true. I did think that's what would happen in July.
Right.
It just took me never wrong, just really, 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 really early. With a few injuries in the way as well. Let's use that as a jumping off point into a little bit of a zooming out on a couple of things. I've got an angle on this. I know you guys have some angles on this, taking a look at what this season has been to this point, and then we'll spend the rest of the show talking Chiefs-Chargers. Because even though the Chiefs can clinch it, and obviously if they lose this game, it's not like the AFC West is a total coin toss. But it would be nice to win this game. The Chargers are playing pretty good football, even without J.K. Dobbins. But we'll spend more time on that than we usually get to in our preview sections. But when you look at the, you know what I'm going to say definitively, I don't care if this ruffles some feathers. I don't care if this is, maybe something you're not expecting to hear from me. But definitively, I will not hear an argument otherwise. The Kansas City Chiefs are the worst 11-1 team in the AFC this year. And I think you have to acknowledge that truth if you're going to. Thank you. And I look, I mean, there's an argument to be made that they're one of the two worst 11-1 teams in football in 2024. And until you can admit that to yourself, I just think I think you're going to be in a real place of delusion. And we go to our regular expert on delusion, Seth Keysor. Seth, your thoughts?
Man, you got to stop throwing it to me in ways that I find so funny, because like I'm sure it does not make for a great listening experience when it's like Seth's gonna say things.
Josh, when you're too good at your job, it makes my job harder. Could you be worse at your job? You gotta be. Sound like I just threw a perfect deep ball to you downfield and went through your hands. I got to go tell BJ after the show, like, no, I could have taken time off of it. That's on me.
No, absolutely. That's being a quarterback, man. You are either you get all the credit and all the blame, and the rest of us, we're just here. We're just here to try to support you and occasionally not.
I'm here just flanked by Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones, and it's like, no, I am the quarterback. I am unequivocally the quarterback of this show. I am Sam Darnold.
I can't believe you didn't even let me be another receiver in the offense.
No,
I can't.
I like that you knew that you weren't Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, no, I'm not even going to get offended by that. So it is, I love the way you framed it, because so much of the conversation about the Chiefs, and I get it. Look, we talked about this weeks ago. I understand the way certain Patriots fans reacted to things over the years a little bit better now. It really is true that when you were in the middle of a dynasty, all the coverage is about knocking your team a little bit. Because it's boring to just say over and over and over again how great a team is. That is boring. You wax eloquent after the Super Bowl. They have a ton of great coverage. But the next season, it's boring to say, hey, look, the Chiefs might be one of the best teams in football again. Yay. Why are the rest of you trying? Like, I'm really excited to see. That's part of why a three-peat would be so incredible, because, like, the content would be so funny to watch. Like, why is anyone trying? The story of the 2025 NFL season, because we all know where this is headed. That would be amazing to do. So much of it, though, is I'll see the Chiefs win a close game against, a team that they should be objectively better than. And then I'll watch, like, the Ravens lose. And the conversation is like, man, the Ravens, despite their heroic efforts, showing their incredible talent on both sides of the ball, unfortunately lost a close matchup against the Browns of Cleveland.
Are you Leif Schreiber, and is this Hard Knocks?
Yeah, maybe. It's hard. You never know. I just brought you to a place, Nate. And so you're not the only storyteller on this podcast, let me tell you. So, but then the Chiefs. But then the conversation about the conversation about the Chiefs becomes, oh man, they suck. And it's like, okay, guys, like, here's all the reasons they almost lost that game. Okay. Yes. Should we maybe at some point talk about the reasons they won? No. Okay. Well, that's fair. It reminds me of arguing. It reminds me, I haven't done this yet, this show. It reminds me of arguing with Jazz, who is gorgeous and wonderful.
And I'll go ahead and take
I
it
love
from here, Seth, and I'll add a little stat to this for you. Do you want to finish this bit, or do you want to freeze and leave? Because you can freeze and leave right now. No one would blame you.
No, you know what? I'm going to finish, and it's only 15 seconds, because I will make a reasoned argument. I will explain why I think what I think, and Jazz's response will be no. And I'll say, oh, I don't have a response to that. And that's it. I'll be like, this is why this is the way it is. She said, no, it's not. And I'll say, well, I got nothing. And that is what it's like listening to the Chiefs being covered right now. It's like, hey, would you talk about why the Chiefs are winning games? No, we won't. Okie dokie. So, guys, come back. Dude, this really was a 15-second in a dismount. And so the way the Chiefs are covered, it's not like anything you see with other teams that are Super Bowl contenders. It's all about why they're not. Ooh, Zach Byers makes a good point. Guys, are you really that different? All you've talked about is what's wrong with the Chiefs or who's hurt. In this particular episode, Zach, you know what? We have covered that. Although I think we said things about why DJ Humphries would be a good addition, things that would help with that. So I'd like to think that we are pretty different from that because we talk about both as opposed to just one. And that's kind of the difference between just covering one angle of things and then another. I am really not looking forward to seeing how long Josh and Nate are willing to commit to this bit. Listeners,
Longer than 15 seconds.
I'm waiting for you guys to come back. I want to hear what you had to say, Josh. I value you as a person, as a friend, and most importantly, as the quarterback of this podcast.
I don't know if I want your value.
I'm a great apologizer.
Tune into Tucker's social media accounts later tonight to hear what Seth said.
No.
So here's what I'll add. Here's what I'll add as Seth goes through 30 seconds of a horror movie. Here's a really good anecdote, or not anecdote, a good antidote to this syndrome that has swept over so much of NFL analysis. Okay, here's the antidote, and you could have done it last week, but you can also do it on Sunday because the Chiefs play Sunday Night Football. One football game during the noon and 3 o'clock windows on Sunday was decided by more than one possession. So and I'm doing a little bit of math here because it was Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night with Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
There were a handful. I think there were 4 total games then ultimately that were decided by more than one possession. The other 2 Thanksgiving games were also both close. One of those games heavily featured Drew Lock. Like this is how it generally goes. Bears-Lions got close. No, Seth, it was before that. It was bad, but it was before that too.
Oh, crud.
The games are all close. Blowouts are not extinct. Blowouts are endangered. There are very few blowouts remaining in the wild at this point. And for me, as I find myself frequently becoming more and more the optimist in this space, not amongst the three of us necessarily, but just sort of seeing how Chiefs vibes are assessed, and to the commenter's point earlier, usually the thing that you tinker with is the thing that you talk about, right? So because I think it's it's a fair question. I think it's wrong in this instance, but it's a fair question to say, again, so are you guys just doing the same thing? No, because most of the time, if we talk about how good Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey were for 30 minutes a show, they deserve that, but it's not very good podcasting. You can listen by the noises Nate makes to figure out how good Humphrey's been.
Guttural.
We could talk about that for a longer period of time, and maybe we should take more time to highlight like those individual performances that are really strong. But we also talk about Chris Jones all the time. We talk about Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes all the time. We talk about Trent McDuffie all the time. But the thing that's probably, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty confident, the thing that the coaching staff in that building spends most of their week talking about is what went wrong. Now, it's what went well that we can double down on, what went well that we can extrapolate into the future. But by and large, when your left tackle derails a football game multiple times a year, you have no choice but to spend a lot of time thinking and talking about the left tackle situation. So, I don't know, that to me, the meditation exercise I would offer to Chiefs fans is watching other football games, because it will make you feel at least a little bit better. And for non-Chiefs fans, if you happen to be watching, you know what I would love for you to do? Watch referees in non-Chiefs games. Ooh. Because the number, and this isn't, it's just unthinkable. The number of, like, air quotes, game-changing plays, game-saving plays, gifts from the refs, the number of plays throughout a game in which that happens to both teams in every game is jarring. And refereeing's gotten better with the like express review thing that I've been begging them to do for years, and then they finally are doing a version of that. It's like, all right, this wasn't that complicated. But watch what other refereeing crews do and think like, oh, it's weird that I can't remember who there was. I mean, there's one in every game. Watching a primetime game will also help because
Can
red zone will shield you from that. Watch primetime football when the Chiefs aren't playing.
Yes.
So the best example of this, and it's been one of my most favorite games I've watched this year that doesn't involve the Chiefs, was when what's the Vikings coach name again?
Kevin O'Connell.
When Kevin O'Connell rolled into SoFi Stadium and saw his master across the sideline and Sean McVay and said, "I'm pulling my zipper down first." And then Sean McVay said, "Oh, you wanna zip off? Let me unzip myself, sir." Guys, they scored touchdown in the first 4 possessions. It was just unzipping mastery. Oh, quarterbacks finding guys wide ass open. And the game got ruined because once the defenses started to settle in and now we have a close game, okay, Sam Darnold, now's the time to take us on a game-winning drive. Did he just get face masked into Uranus? And they didn't call a penalty at all. Nope, didn't happen. Nope. I mean, was the guy who pulled Sam Darnold's face mask, did he literally do this after the play in the end zone? Signaling, oh no, I've just committed a 15-yard penalty on 4th down or whatever it was. Yeah, he did that. And they still said, "Nah, we good. Rams win." So that ruined, in a sense, how fun and lovable that game was earlier in the year when you had, and this only happens every blue moon, guys. This only happens it's not like the eclipse, but it's kind of like when the planets align, when you get one coach who just says, "I don't care that it's week 7. You know what? I'm pulling the zipper out." And the other coach says, "How dare you pull the zipper out on me? Let's show them our zipper plays. Unzip, boys. Unzip." And, sometimes that sometimes gets ruined by the refs and no one talks about it because this is the Rams, this is the Vikings, and the state of the league. Now, Josh, adding to your point, Seth, you know who the one analyst that I thought who I think has done a very eloquent, coordinated, effort-minded analysis on the Chiefs this season? Do you know who that analyst is?
Me.
Seth Keysor.
It's Bill Belichick.
Oh. Well,
If you
I'm comfortable being second best to Bill Belichick. I'm comfortable being the second best.
Yeah. If you watch inside the NFL or anything that Bill Belichick has done on ESPN, whether it's obviously Pat McAfee show, the breakdowns of the Monday night games he does with the Mannings, Bill Belichick has been so effusive in how much credit he gives the Chiefs. The fact that they're still one of the best coach teams in the league. The fact that he says, "Look at all the things Patrick's doing," when obviously things are not ideal at the moment. He loves Chris Jones. He loves Leo Chenal. He sees the value that Trent McDuffie has. There's been a number of times this season where Bill Belichick says, "No, guys, they're going to get better." That's what they do. That's what Andy Reid teams do. Andy Reid teams get better from the start of the season to the ends of the season.
And he respects Andy. I've just, on a complete side note, one of my favorite pressers Andy or Bill Belichick ever did was after an Alex Smith sponsored beatdown of the Patriots. I think it was on opening night.
Yes.
They won by 20. I think this was 2017, I want to say. But I'm not sure if I have that exactly right, because I just remember it was maybe the beginning of the deep ball year for Alex. But anyway, after the game, they were asking Belichick about various things, and he was just like, "Guys, Andy always does stuff like that, new formations. He's got new alignments. He's got all this stuff. It's the same stuff. It's dressed up differently, and we couldn't handle it." Was basically, and it was a cool moment to see him like Andy. I love it when they refer to each other with first names because they've seen each other for years. He's like, "Yeah, he just got me, guys. He got me. I don't know what to tell you. Andy's been doing this for a minute, and sometimes Bill gets Andy." And it's just that's when the Chiefs don't score for the first half, And so anyway, I agree with you completely. Someone made a really good point to add to that it's not just Belichick, but a lot of former Patriots that you've kind of seen come out just saying they're going to get this figured out. You see Edelman and Gronk and some of those guys, they've said some stuff where they're just like, "Guys, they're probably going to figure this out. And I really wonder if being a part of that just instills that same, like, you've been in that building, and the Chiefs talk about this, some of their players, that they've been in that every time they're in a weird spot. Afterwards, they're like, well, we've kind of seen a lot. And we kind of know that we're always going to be okay. And when your dynasty includes moments like the comeback game against Houston that kicked it all off, coming back from 78 zip or whatever it was, right? And the 13 seconds, and anything is possible, and overtime drives in the Super Bowl, all these insane things that they've seen. There really is no situation. They look shocked when they lose. Like, they look as surprised as we do. So, and I think Patriots that were genuinely part of the dynasties really kind of understand that trust in the process.
Let's see where the process gets them here coming up on Sunday night. I have not had to make a pick on this yet. I've thought about a lot of the individual matchups, but I have not landed on how exactly I feel about this. I'll mention the two notes that I mentioned, one earlier and then one matchup that I think is going to be a blast. But no J.K. Dobbins. I think he's still got a full 4 week. Regardless, he's not playing on Sunday night. And this is a run first football team that happens to be managed and run by an absolute cyborg at quarterback who is such a delight to watch play under any other circumstances. I'm
He's
a little
so
bit worried
good
about watching him on Sunday, but this has been true for a while. I think the vibes have caught up, and now the world has caught up. Justin Herbert is probably like your quarterback's favorite quarterback type of thing. Like he does so much incredible stuff in the pocket, and he can move much better than he should be able to as well. So where are you guys at right now? Oh, the matchup, obviously, that I'm curious how the defense follows it. Trent McDuffie and Ladd McConkey is an absolute, that is a matchup right there that I am extremely ready for. And I would think it would make sense for McDuffie to follow McConkey around as much as humanly possible, but I don't know how interested the Chiefs are in putting him in the slot. I'll tell you how interested I am in watching Shamari Connor cover Ladd McConkey, and it's not very interested. So where are you guys at right now? What are you looking forward to? What's your vibe check on the game?
Here's what I'm most interested in, because it is a t-shirt and hats game, right? If the Chiefs win, they will get new t-shirts. They'll get, the ball caps to say, hey, we won the division for the 8th straight time, or the 9th straight time, I should say. Everything that the Chargers have done has really been, over the last 5-6 years, has been done to, how do we compete? How do we compete at the highest level against the Chiefs? And hey, we'll get a mastermind at defense for our head coach. That did not work out. Okay, now we're gonna get the guy who's gonna eat the trenches, right? We're just gonna eat the line of scrimmage. We're gonna teach our quarterback to actually value the football and possess it in a way that does not hinder ourselves. We're actually gonna get Derwin James to be a Pro Bowler again. It's wild, guys. Derwin James was bad last year, like really bad. And now he's good. He's really good again. So that takes me to, in this kind of game, at this particular time of the season, Travis Kelce reminds the Chargers that he's Travis Kelce. And that as long as he's on the field, you guys are never winning this division. And so I just want to be really interested because, I think Travis had a very good game against the Raiders. Things got a little wonky there in the fourth quarter, as we've said before. Unlike anybody else anywhere on any platform, I don't know that, hey, maybe he shouldn't play 90% of the snaps, coach. Maybe he shouldn't play 90% of the snaps because he's god awful tired in the fourth quarter. But he had a very good game against the Raiders, and I think he can continue it against the Chargers. And one of the measuring sticks for the Chargers in this, reloading for them to get back into the postseason is, hey, can you actually guard this guy to make things a little bit more difficult for Patrick Mahomes, for Andy Reid, for Matt Nagy? Because anytime we play this dude after the halfway point of the season, he usually cooks us.
Seth, where you at? What do you like?
Right now, I am rewatching Xavier Worthy's longest play of the year, a gorgeous 55-yard touchdown. and on a deep ball that was a design shot play to him in which he cooked the corner. And let me just tell you, oh, by the way, side note, and people are talking about in the chat, Lad McConkey was limited again in practice today on Thursday. He's been limited multiple times this week. It's just interesting. I hope he plays because he's a good player.
You run all them routes. You get all them targets. You take all them hits and tell me you wouldn't be limited today. Okay? Because the Chargers are using... By the way, the Chargers are using him like he's Travis Kelce. Have you seen Lad McConkey? He ain't as big as Travis Kelce.
Not built quite the same.
There's some minor differences. So here's the interesting thing. Xavier Worthy's top yardage of the season came in their fourth game against the Chargers, largely on the back of a 54-yard touchdown. Over the last 3 weeks, Worthy, without a single one of those deep shots landing, 61 yards, 46 yards, 54 yards. He's been quietly, decently productive consistently the last few weeks without having to have like super high volume targets or anything like that. I'm curious what it looks like now that they have Hopkins there. I'm going to continue. Basically, every week I'm going to be hammering the fact that Xavier Worthy, other than DJ Humphries, in terms of the offense, is the most important dude on the field, even if he's not the focal point of the offense. Right. Because all it takes... Because remember, that Chargers game, that was when like Rice had just gotten hurt. The defense was getting Mahomes panicking in the pocket. The Chargers defense, that is. Everything was going wrong. And then in one play, they flipped it. That's what big plays do. And I guarantee you, Jim Harbaugh has not forgotten about that. And I'm just curious to see what it looks like, because if it weren't for Xavier Worthy, I don't know if the Chiefs turned that around the way things were going, and they were able to flip everything so quickly. So I like the Chiefs because I always like the Chiefs. I think every week I'm predicting the offense just finally stops missing by this much and pulls it together. So against maybe the best defense in the NFL, that's going to be a hard thing to do. I haven't seen a defensive coordinator get Mahomes twice in a row since like Belichick. Maybe Minter can do it. Minter is terrific.
He's really good.
Doing a great job.
Really great.
I'm assuming he will pull... No, Big Lou Anarumo has done it a few times. So I'm assuming, much like Lou, he will have a very different game plan. Because if he makes the mistake of going with the same game plan, he's going to get torched. Because that's what Mahomes has always done. You do the same thing against him twice in a row, it's over. So I'm curious about that. I think the Chiefs win. I think it's going to be another tight one.
I'm going Chiefs 20, Chargers 19. They go for two after scoring a touchdown with no time remaining, and the Chiefs stop the 2-point conversion to win the game in that moment. So I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm gonna go 21-20. I guess I don't think the Chiefs are scoring all those field goals or those touchdowns. So it's a Chiefs 1 point to. I don't care how the field goals get there. 20-19 is my official.
Or I was gonna say 18-17. You know, just all field goals.
17. No, the Chargers are going for points. The Chiefs, I think, are good. We got. Listen, keep Matthew Wright in your fantasy lineup. You know what you should really have in your lineup right now? You should have the ability to step on in and do some good with the Soul of KC Holiday Raffle and Toy Drive. I mentioned it at the beginning, and you're running out of time to get your tickets purchased. You can buy them through noon on Monday, December 9th. So this is the last time we'll be able to tell you about that here on Weird Games, and then we'll draw the winners and do all of that during Tuesday's edition of the show on the 10th. So this is your last call, at least from us here on Only Weird Games. You can purchase your tickets at givebutter.com/KCSN Soul or Venmo at KC Sports Network. It's $20 for one ticket, $50 for 5, and $100 for 15. There's a whole bunch of prizes. I'm not going to read them all right now. The graphics across social, and I've read the many shows in a row. So if you already bought them, you don't have to hear them all again. But a bunch of jerseys, a bunch of signed Chiefs memorabilia, a bunch of gift cards, and some great experiences in there as well. Again, that's the Soul of KC Holiday Raffle and Toy Drive, and all those proceeds go toward purchasing presents for Operation Breakthrough. That's the plan for the rest of the weekend that you can get involved with. Nate, why don't you tell us about what the plan is for the final moment of the show?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we had some news today that was of interest across the NFL. I'm looking for it here. It involves who a lot of people wanted us to talk about in the chat before this show began. This is a statement from Eric Bieniemy's agent,
Oh yeah. Oh,
Jason Fletcher.
yeah.
Quote, Eric Bieniemy and UCLA mutually parted ways today as previously planned. He is still getting paid by the Commanders through this season. After interviewing for head coaching jobs last year, he wanted to stay active and busy. So he decided to go help out Deshaun Foster, who was like his little brother at UCLA, as opposed to sitting out a year. The plan was always to return to the NFL in 2025. And he's looking forward to opportunities ahead. And I know what you're thinking, ladies and gentlemen. I know what some people in the league have been thinking. We're going to have a bid off, kids. A bidding war. I can't wait to see Eric Bieniemy in Indianapolis and hug this man. Because he wants back in. I want back in. I know someone asked in the chat earlier, I can't get to it right now, but they said, hey, Nate, who calls first? The Chiefs or Eric Bieniemy? If you don't think Eric Bieniemy hasn't made that call already, then you ain't been living right, okay? Now, let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something. A lot of fans probably want Eric Bieniemy back in the building so he can get in Wanye Morris's keister, okay? I know people want Eric Bieniemy back in the building so he can tell Kingsley Suamataia how to pass block. But there's another team up north with a general manager and a special assistant to the team president and a quarterback with similar traits to one Patrick Mahomes. Let the bidding begin. It's the Chiefs versus the Bears. Who wants Eric Bieniemy back?
Typically, the Chiefs win that matchup when they want to. So
Bring him home.